D.C. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton joining us on the phone now. Delegate Norton, were you made aware of the mission earlier today, or did you find out like the rest of us late this evening?
Well, like the rest of us, and except perhaps for the top leadership of the Congress, I think most members of Congress found out from you, not directly from the president. But I can tell you that I don't think that there are any Americans for whom this is greater relief than the people, the residents who live in of the District of Columbia. Everything about this city has been changed because of bin Laden and 9/11. Now, I caution everyone, this does not mean that the end of terrorism is here, but it does seem like the end of a war to many of us.
What else does it mean? The president was very careful with his words tonight, saying that this was never a war against Muslims. This is not a war against Islam, noting that Osama bin Laden has been responsible for the deaths of thousands of Muslims across the globe as well. What does the next chapter in the global war on terrorism look like?
Well, it looks very different from 9/11 when we were focused on one man. Now we have hundreds of offshoots, including, as we have already seen, in the United States, individuals who are totally unconnected with bin Laden or with 9/11 who take it upon themselves to go to war against the United States. So what he started lives on, and in some ways in a more dangerous fashion. We were focused on one man and on one modus operandi. Now we are focused on possibilities of terrorism from many quarters, including from within the United States itself. And yes, the death of bin Laden ends a chapter in American history unlike any other. None of us living today can remember, unless you are very old, an attack on the United States itself until 9/11. So he in fact made us understand what it meant for the country to be under attack. But it was an attack of a very different sort, not an attack by one country on another, but a far more dangerous and insidious attack that is not over now, as World War II was over. But I must tell you, it is something akin to the death of Hitler.
I know it's early, but I want to really quickly, before I let you go here, I want to talk briefly about what this might mean politically for the president, for your party as well. What do you think this is going to mean for President Obama and Democrats in this country, and Republicans as well?
Well, first, it's a victory for every president since 9/11, and I'm sure the president would be the first to say that. The fact that it occurred on his watch and under his command will give him enormous credit, and history will give him that credit.
Right after 9/11, so many of us were moved by the images of unity that we saw around this country, images that we are seeing unfold now outside the White House as well. Do you think this will be another one of those galvanizing moments in this country, a moment that we could also so desperately use right now here in Washington, D.C., or will this be another one of those moments that 2 weeks from now we've not forgotten about, but the bitter partisan rancor will come back?
Well, I'm very glad you asked that, as Congress is about to come back into town tomorrow, and as we are about to begin another raucous, terrible debate on this time on the debt limit. Let us pause for a moment to remember what we all stand for. If we can only remember that after 9/11, you saw the greatest unity this country has ever seen since the end of World War II, and we messed it all up by invading Iran and not completing the work in Afghanistan from which the attack on us had taken place. And here we are now, 10 years later, in Afghanistan. Now that we have come to one conclusion of this war on terrorism with the death of bin Laden, surely Congress will use it as a moment of unity, and perhaps it will bleed into the rest of what we have to do this term with greater unity in the Congress.
D.C. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton. Delegate Norton, thank you so much. Do appreciate your time tonight.
Always a pleasure.
President George